subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts. The warning, the boy's voice echoed sharply through the crowded airport terminal. Sir, your plane was sabotaged. Please don't board. The words cut through the hum of travelers, stopping a millionaire businessman mid-step. He turned slowly, confusion and disbelief flashing in his eyes. Around them, people froze. Phones paused mid-scroll. Conversations halted. The man looked down at the boy, who stood no taller than his waist. His face was earnest, eyes wide with urgency and fear. "Who are you?" the businessman asked, voice low but trembling. "My name is Ethan," the boy said, voice steady despite the tremble of adrenaline coursing through him. "I saw something dangerous on your plane. Please, don't get on." The businessman's gaze flicked around, searching for help, for confirmation. People stared, whispers spreading like wildfire. "Sabotaged? What does that mean?" a woman asked nearby, her voice laced with disbelief. "Are you crazy?" another muttered. But Ethan stood firm, heart pounding in his chest. He knew what he'd seen, a shadow slipping beneath the plane's wing earlier that morning, fiddling with the landing gear. No one else had noticed. Or if they did, they had ignored it. The millionaire took a hesitant step back. "Who else knows about this?" Ethan shook his head. "I'm the only one. Please, you have to listen." For a long moment, silence hung between them like a fragile thread. Then the businessman's phone buzzed. A text flashed on the screen. "Boarding now, final call." The tension thickened. Passengers began lining up, unaware of the growing storm. Ethan's voice dropped to a whisper. "If you get on that plane, something terrible will happen." At that moment, a woman's voice cut through the terminal. "Sir, please follow me. There's a security alert." The businessman turned sharply, eyes searching Ethan's face one last time. "Thank you," he said quietly. "You may have just saved my life." As security escorted him away, Ethan watched a mixture of relief and dread swirling inside him. Had he done enough? Had he truly stopped the disaster? The news spread quickly. Rumors of sabotage swept through the media. Authorities launched an immediate investigation, but Ethan's life was about to change in ways he could never imagine. That evening, as Ethan sat alone in his small apartment, the doorbell rang. A well-dressed man stood outside, eyes sharp and unreadable. "Ethan," he said quietly, "we need to talk." The visitor, Ethan's heart thudded against his ribs as he stared at the man standing at his doorstep. The stranger was impeccably dressed, the kind of tailored suit that whispered power and secrets. His eyes, cold and unreadable, bore into Ethan's very soul. "I'm Agent Harper," the man said, voice calm but firm. "We need to discuss what you saw at the airport today." Ethan swallowed hard. His mind raced, questions spilling faster than he could catch. Why him? How did they find him so quickly? And most terrifying, what did they really want? Agent Harper stepped inside without waiting for an invitation, scanning Ethan's small apartment like a hawk. "We've been monitoring unusual activity around that flight you mentioned," Harper continued. "Your warning stopped a disaster, but it also exposed something bigger." Ethan's pulse quickened. "What do you mean?" he asked, voice barely steady. Harper's lips pressed into a thin line. "There's more at stake than a single act of sabotage. Powerful people don't want the truth to come out." The conversation deepened. Ethan learned about the plane, a private jet owned by a wealthy and influential businessman named Robert Caldwell. It wasn't just any flight. It carried sensitive documents and several high-profile passengers. "The sabotage was meant to send a message," Harper said grimly, "and there may be more attempts." Ethan's gaze dropped. He realized he'd stumbled into a world far darker than he ever imagined. As the night wore on, Ethan wrestled with fear and doubt. Should he cooperate? Could he trust this stranger? And what would happen if he didn't? Suddenly, his phone buzzed. A message appeared from an unknown number. "We're watching you. Stay quiet." Ethan's hands trembled. Harper noticed immediately. "You're in danger," he said quietly. "But you're not alone." The two formed an uneasy alliance. Harper promised protection, but warned that uncovering the full truth would mean risking everything. Ethan agreed, knowing there was no turning back. Over the next few days, Ethan's life transformed into a tense game of cat and mouse. Strangers followed him. Phone calls went unanswered. His every move is shadowed by unseen eyes. Yet amid the fear, a spark of courage grew. Ethan wasn't just a boy with a warning anymore. He was a key player in exposing a conspiracy that threatened many lives. One evening, as Ethan prepared to meet Harper again, a knock echoed at his door. He opened it to find a young woman, her eyes fierce and determined. "I'm Maya," she said. "I know what you're up against, and I want to help." Ethan's journey was no longer solitary. Together, they would fight to bring the hidden truth to light, even if it meant facing betrayal, danger, and heartbreak. Shadows of betrayal, the dim light of Ethan's apartment, flickered as he sat across from Maya, her eyes scanning the files laid out between them. Each page told a story of corruption, greed, and danger far beyond anything Ethan had imagined when he shouted that warning at the airport. Maya's voice was steady, but her hands trembled slightly. "These documents prove that Robert Caldwell's empire is built on lies, illegal deals, bribery, and worse. The sabotage was meant to cover it all up." Ethan swallowed hard, the weight of their discovery pressing down on him. Why would someone go this far? Risk lives just to protect money. Maya's gaze hardened, because power doesn't just protect itself, it destroys anyone who threatens it. Outside, the night pressed in like a living thing. Ethan's phone buzzed quietly, a message from Agent Harper. "We're close. Stay alert." The sense of urgency was overwhelming. They needed proof strong enough to bring Caldwell down, but every step forward seemed to tighten the noose around their necks. Days blurred as Ethan, Maya, and Harper worked tirelessly, but shadows lurked everywhere. One evening, Ethan noticed a man watching him from across the street. When their eyes met, the stranger smiled an unsettling grin that froze Ethan's blood. Back in the apartment, Maya paced nervously. "We can't trust anyone," she said. "Even Harper's not immune." Ethan frowned. "What do you mean?" Maya hesitated, then pulled out a photo. It was Agent Harper caught in a private meeting with one of Caldwell's known associates. Betrayal. The word echoed in Ethan's mind. Had he been manipulated all along? Confronting Harper wasn't easy. When they met, Harper's expression was unreadable. "You don't understand the bigger picture," he said. "Sometimes you have to play along to win." Ethan's voice cracked. "Are you working for him?" Harper sighed. "I'm trying to protect you on stop Caldwell from inside." Trust shattered. Ethan felt the ground slip beneath him. Who could he believe? Maya's steady presence was his anchor, but even she was haunted by secrets. Then came the call, a warning: "Leave now, or you'll never see tomorrow." Fear threatened to consume them, but retreat wasn't an option. They planned a risky move: to expose Caldwell publicly, gather evidence, leak it to the press, and force an investigation. It was their only chance. On the night of the operation, tensions soared. They met in a crowded cafe, whispers barely audible over the chatter. Ethan's hands shook as Maya handed him a flash drive. "This has everything," she said. "Once it's out, there's no going back." Suddenly, footsteps approached. A familiar figure appeared. It was Harper, but his eyes were cold, distant. "You're making a mistake," he warned. Ethan's heart pounded. Was Harper still a friend, or their greatest enemy? Before Ethan could respond, the cafe's lights flickered and went out. Chaos erupted. Screams, shouts, the sound of shattering glass. In the darkness, Ethan felt hands grab him, pulling him away from Maya. When the lights returned, Maya was gone. Ethan was alone. The sudden blackout plunged the cafe into chaos. Ethan's breath caught in his throat as he felt rough hands grip his arms, dragging him backward through the stunned crowd. Shouts and footsteps echoed around him, but everything seemed muffled, like he was underwater. When the lights flickered back on, the place was a mess. Tables overturned, shattered glass glinted on the floor, and panic swirled in the eyes of the scattered patrons. But most terrifying of all, Maya was gone. Ethan's heart pounded wildly as he scanned the room, desperate to find her. The void where she should have been swallowed him whole. "Where's Maya?" Ethan demanded, voice hoarse. The man who had grabbed him pulled back, releasing him with a cold sneer. "You're in way over your head, kid. Stay out of this if you want to live." Before Ethan could respond, the man vanished into the crowd, staggering out into the cold night air. Ethan clutched the flash drive tightly. It was the only link to the truth, and without Maya, the weight of the mission pressed heavier than ever. He fumbled for his phone, hands trembling. He dialed Agent Harper's number, praying for help. The phone rang, then clicked. Harper's voice was calm but distant. "What happened?" "Maya's been taken," Ethan gasped. "Someone grabbed her during the blackout." There was a pause. "We'll find her," Harper promised, "but you have to be careful." They're watching. Ethan's world narrowed to a single point of focus. Rescue Maya, expose Caldwell, and survive. In the following days, Ethan plunged deeper into a shadowy maze of surveillance, coded messages, and secret meetings. Each step forward revealed darker layers of Caldwell's reach, corrupt officials, shadow operatives, and a network willing to silence anyone who threatened their empire. At one point, Ethan followed a lead to an abandoned warehouse on the city outskirts. The air was thick with dust and menace. Inside, he found signs of recent activity, discarded electronics, hastily erased files, and most chilling, a blood-stained scarf. A sudden noise froze Ethan in place. Footsteps approached. He ducked behind a rusted crate, heart pounding. Two voices echoed. "We can't let that kid interfere. He's too close. Send a message. Make sure he knows what happens to traitors." Ethan's blood ran cold. They knew about him, but worse, they wanted him gone. Meanwhile, Harper's behavior grew increasingly erratic. Sometimes he was a protector, other times distant and cryptic. Ethan began to suspect that Harper might have his own agenda, torn between loyalty and survival. One evening, Ethan confronted him. "Who are you really working for?" he demanded. Harper's eyes flickered with pain. "I'm trying to buy time," he said. "Caldwell's network is deeper than you think. Trust no one." Ethan realized he was alone in a war he barely understood, but giving up was not an option. Then came a breakthrough. A mysterious informant sent Ethan an encrypted message containing a photo. Maya, alive but clearly held captive. Attached was a location. Ethan prepared for the rescue. He gathered what little support he could. Harper reluctantly agreed to help. The lines of trust still thin but necessary. The night of the operation was tense and desperate. Ethan crept into the facility indicated by the message. Every shadow seemed alive, every sound a threat. He found Maya, weak but unbroken. Tears streamed down both their faces as they embraced, but as they turned to leave, alarms blared. They had been discovered. Gunshots rang out. Chaos erupted. Ethan grabbed Maya's hand and ran, dodging bullets and obstacles. Just when hope seemed lost, Harper appeared, providing cover and guiding them through a hidden exit. Outside, the cold night air was sharp and biting. They were free for now, but Ethan knew the real battle was just beginning. Breaking point. The bitter night air bit into Ethan's skin as he and Maya stumbled away from the shadowed warehouse, every nerve on edge. Behind them, the angry echoes of gunfire faded into the distance. But the danger was far from over. Maya leaned heavily on Ethan, her breath ragged, but her spirit unyielding. "We're not safe yet," she whispered. "Caldwell's men will be looking for us." Ethan nodded, gripping the flash drive tightly, their only weapon against the powerful empire they had dared to challenge. Agent Harper waited nearby, his face grim as he scanned the dark streets. "You two made it," he said curtly, "but this isn't over. Caldwell's reach extends into places you wouldn't believe." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we need to hit him where it hurts." Harper sighed. "The documents you carry are explosive, but to bring Caldwell down, you'll have to expose not just him, but everyone protecting him." Over the next few days, Ethan and Maya worked with Harper, navigating a dangerous game of trust and betrayal. Every meeting was shadowed by the possibility of a leak, every phone call a potential trap. The city itself felt like a cage, its streets watched by unseen eyes. One afternoon, while reviewing the files, Maya discovered something chilling: a list of names, influential politicians, business leaders, and even law enforcement, all tied to Caldwell's network. Her voice trembled. "This goes deeper than we thought. This is the core of corruption." Ethan swallowed hard. "If we release this, we will shake the country." They planned a public leak, an undeniable exposure that would force the hand of the government. But the night before, everything changed. Ethan's apartment was broken into. The door was forced open, drawers rifled through, papers scattered, but the flash drive was gone. Panic surged. Who had taken it? Caldwell's men, or someone closer? Harper's warning echoed in Ethan's mind. Trust no one. Determined, Ethan and Maya went into hiding. They used encrypted channels to reach out to a trusted journalist, Sarah, known for exposing political scandals. Sarah agreed to meet, but only in a public place, security paramount. At a busy cafe. Ethan slid the backup copy of the flash drive across the table. "This has everything," he said. Sarah's eyes sparkled with a mixture of fear and excitement. "This will blow the lid off." But as they spoke, Ethan noticed a shadow lurking nearby, a man watching them with cold eyes. The stalker followed them after the meeting, forcing Ethan and Maya to change plans at a moment's notice. Then came the blow they hadn't seen coming. Harper disappeared. No calls, no messages, only silence. Ethan's world fractured. Without Harper's protection and knowledge, their mission seemed doomed, yet giving up was impossible. They decided to press forward, rallying a small group of allies willing to fight the corruption. As the day of the leak approached, tension tightened around them like a noose. On the morning of the planned release, Ethan received a chilling message. Stop now, or the people you love will pay. The threat hit deep. Maya looked at Ethan, determination burning in her eyes. We have to finish this, no matter the cost. Hours later, the evidence went live. Screens across the nation flashed with names, dates, and damning proof. The world watched as Caldwell's empire began to crumble. But the victory was bitter. Shots rang out near their safe house. A bullet tore through the wall. Ethan and Maya held each other close, knowing their fight was far from over. But for the first time, hope flickered in the darkness. The reckoning and redemption. The city was alive with unrest. Headlines screamed of corruption exposed, officials arrested, and powerful figures brought to their knees. Ethan and Maya watched the news unfold from a safe house window, the glow of the screens reflecting in their tired eyes. The fight had been long, painful, and costly, but they had struck a blow no one could ignore. Yet the danger lingered like a shadow. Though Caldwell was in custody, his allies still lurked, desperate to reclaim power or silence those who had betrayed them. Ethan's phone buzzed with encrypted messages, warnings, threats, even promises of protection. One evening, as rain tapped against the window, Maya looked at Ethan with a softness that had been rare during their ordeal. We've changed, she said quietly. Not just the world around us, but ourselves. Ethan nodded, the weight of their journey settling deep in his bones. Then came a knock at the door. Ethan tensed, heart racing. But it was not dangerous. It was a young boy, timid but determined. Ethan, he asked. The boy reminded Ethan of himself, young, hopeful, carrying the burden of a truth too heavy for his years. Your warning saved me once, the boy said. I have something you need to see. Ethan's eyes widened. The cycle of courage and sacrifice was beginning again. In the days that followed, Ethan and Maya worked to build something new, a foundation of transparency, justice, and healing. They knew the road ahead would be difficult, but they were no longer afraid. Their story became a becuna, testament to the power of speaking out, standing up, and refusing to be silenced. In a quiet moment, Maya whispered to Ethan, sometimes, losing everything is the only way to find who you really are. Ethan smiled, feeling the truth of those words deep within. He had lost his innocence but found a purpose. The battle was over. The journey had transformed them. They were survivors, warriors, and above all, bearers of truth. The end.